can go ahead and proceed.
Hello, guys. How's everybody doing? Thank you, Michael, for putting this together. Thank you for having me here today. And today's topic is aligning your buyer. What does it mean to align your buyer? What's the whole idea behind aligning a person? The whole idea is because you want to make sure that you save time, right? When somebody's aligned, that means that you guys are connecting better, that you guys understand better each other, that you guys speak the same language. So I want to help you align your buyer to make sure you're speaking the same language, so that way you can move your sales a lot faster. Why is this important? Because your time matters. Because time is money. Because once you start valuing yourself, the paradox is that clients will start valuing you more. So it is all about aligning yourself, aligning your buyer, and the effects of that. Okay. Like I said, the mission is to provide agents with tips on how to identify a real buyer and get them to buy faster. I couldn't tell you, I mean, this idea of putting this meeting together, this training together, it wasn't an idea that I came up with yesterday. This is something that I came up with about 15 years ago, back in, I think it was 2008, 2009. I was managing 50 agents. I wasn't the CEO. I was the actual broker. And back then, it was a buyer's market. I don't know that we could call it a buyer's market now. It eventually is going to become a buyer's market. I still feel like it's a balanced market nowadays, kind of like pushing more towards this seller's market. But once it becomes a buyer's market, your buyers become super picky. You know, they have a lot of options. So back in those days, I used to have a lot of agents that would come to me and they will say, man, I've shown to this guy 10 properties, 20 properties. I'm driving all over. This guy will not commit. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm showing them the right properties, but why can't they show me the money? What's going on? And I came up with this training that after I did it, I got a lot of positive feedback from the agents, and the agents started closing more. So I hope that this training does the same for you, okay? So the mission is to provide agents with tips on how to identify real buyers and get them to buy faster. That's the mission of the training today. How are we going to do that? What is the solution? Well, wait a second. What is the challenge? What is the challenge that we're talking about? Is that sometimes unexpected situations, like a client being unable to commit, can cause delays. So in other words, a client not making up their mind could create a lot of pain, a lot of waste of time to you, a lot of gas, money, driving all over the place. Who hasn't had a client that waste their time? Who hasn't? So we're gonna give you some tips of how to solve this challenge. How I've been able to solve it. How I was able to sometimes align a client very quick, and they buy a property sight unseen without even seeing it. I probably sold 1,000 properties sight unseen using this strategy. So I hope you guys enjoy it. To me, what is the solution? The solution is the communication. I always say communication is money. Making sure that you really understand those expectations, the expectations that the client has for you, and the expectations, and that the client understand the expectations that you have for them, because you're valuable. Your time is valuable. It's not a one-way street, right? It's the value of the communication has to be good on both ends. So aligning their expectations with yours and reaching a mutual commitment. Okay, guys, when I think about what a lot of agents do, it's like, I'm interested in 3 tools. Oh, 3 tools. I'm gonna set up the auto email in the MLS, and whenever you spot something, I'm gonna get in the car, I'm gonna go show it to you. A lot of us do that. And I'm gonna show you why that's not the way to go. You gotta take a little more time at the beginning of the relationship in order to save a lot of time later. Okay, so how does it work? You gotta start with a strong position. The first thing you need to do is you need to value yourself, okay? So the first thing before you even start talking to a potential buyer, seller, whatever the case might be, before you align them, you have to value yourself. Who are you? Okay. I see a lot of agents that don't even have a value statement. They just go, okay, I can help you. I'm managing, I can help you. Sure, I'm in Florida. I'm fast. But they don't really have a value statement that gives them that niche to be able to stand out, right? There's so many agents in Florida. How many agents are in Florida? Well, just in my family, 3 of us, my daughter, my son, and my wife, actually 4 of us. But what type of value statement are you doing? So you gotta stand strong. So before you do anything else, this is Mr. Klein, let's sit down for 5 minutes. I wanna tell you how badass I am. I wouldn't do nothing. I don't touch any buyers or sellers until I can put my position in place. This is who I am, okay? Do you understand who you're working with? Do you understand that I'm important? You're important, I'm important as well, okay? So begin by introducing yourself, sharing your experiences, make a value statement to explain why your advice is valuable. Why would anybody listen to me with an accent and I sound like I came from Puerto Rico yesterday? Because I give them my experience. I share the stories that create the belief that makes the action of them saying, okay, I am going to sign with this guy. Okay. So you guys need to start. I'm going to repeat this like 4 times, having a value statement. And I bet you anything, if I ask, I don't know how many agents we have here, but let's say out of 20, I'll ask you, what is your value statement? 30 seconds. Half of you do not have it. So let's start with that, okay? And some guys, some agents will say to me, well, Jorge, that's not fair because you've been doing it for 20 years. You've been featured at Forbes. And you use that as your tagline and your value statement. That's not an excuse. Use the collective experience. And let me give you an example. Hello, my name is Cody. My company's been doing it for 20 years. Our CEO has been featured at Forbes. We have 60 agents. We work as a collective. We do anything from short-term rentals to long-term rentals to commercial rentals to, guys, let's spend some time before you do anything else, before you move a finger with your value statement. Because what happens if you go, the easier you make it to the boyfriend or the girlfriend, the less attractive you're gonna be. So if you go, sure, let me take this piece of paper, and yeah, let's go tomorrow, then it's the law of attraction, right? You're not gonna get what you're looking for. All right, so we're gonna move into step 2. You did the value statement, you killed it. You're like, wow, impressive. What is next? Take a few damn minutes to really ask questions to your prospects, okay? Create a sheet, okay? Start with something basic. What is your name, last name? Are you buying, selling? And then you start elaborating more, like what color of the house, carpet, you want an Olympic pool, I could provide you a kiddie pool. But seriously, you gotta sit down with them and do a fact-finding meeting, okay? Listen ask a lot of questions, repeat back the criteria. We're always really good about that, about doing that. So you go, okay, so let me see if I'm understanding correctly. You're looking for a property that's a 3-2 in this part of town. It has to have a pool. Or let's say you're an investor. No, I'm looking for a property that can do a cap rate of 15. Okay. What counties? Okay. If you're not asking a minimum, keep that in mind. If you're not asking a minimum of 10 questions, you're doing an undervalue to yourself and to your client because you're winging it. So it's very important that you conduct the fact-finding meeting, okay? And you repeat it again and again until you feel 100% that you understand what the client is looking for exactly, and they understand that you understand, okay? And then then we talk about compromises. I have a lot of clients that say to me, well, ideally I would like a 3-2, but if you find me a 3-1, I'll be okay with that. And I will write it down. Because whatever I'm going to write, I'm going to make it a commitment that both of us are going to sign. And it's going to be very helpful for you in the future. Because when the client is saying, nah, that's a 3-1, I don't want that, then you could pull out your fact-finding sheet. But sir, we talked about it. And you said that you were okay with 3-1. Well, in second thought, okay, so do we have to do the fact-finding meeting again? Oh, I messed up, and then you could blame yourself. Okay, I'm not gonna move a finger until we do the fact-finding meeting again. All right, so we need to meet again. Until you have something written down to make sure that your client understands that you're committed and that they're committed as well, okay? And I do this all the time. I create a fact-finding meeting. I'll take a VIP fee. I'll collect the $4,000. But I told the client, I will give those $4,000 back if you don't pass a fact-finding meeting. And after we do the fact-finding meeting, because I'm not Tom Cruise, I mean, I got the looks, but I don't have the skills. You see what Tom Cruise is doing at 50 plus years. I mean, doing his own stunts. He's crazy, it's crazy. But if it's something mission impossible, you want to be able to tell the client. You want to be able to take the time to educate the client. Really, this is what I've seen in the market. This is what's realistic. This is not what's not realistic. And have that conversation. Just make sure that at the end, you have something that if there's a compromise, that he's aligned with it, you're aligned with it. He's like, okay, not an Olympic pool, but I'll take a jacuzzi. Okay, great. Maybe not in downtown Tampa, but I'll do Seminole Heights. Okay, cool. We're aligned. Let me write it down. Let me sign it. And you sign it as well. Okay. So that's step 2, fact finding. Step 3, align their expectations with yours and reach a mutual commitment. So as I'm doing this exercise, I told the client that at the end, we're going to create a work order. Very detailed work order. And that work order is going to tell me exactly what you're looking for. And I'm not going to waste your time as a client. You're not going to waste mine. Okay. And this is where it becomes very fun. This is part of the training that I swear to God I've used many, many times. And it has worked for me very well. Now I'm going to start the presentation for a second. So I want to look at every one of you. I go to the client and I say, Mr. Client, after listening to all your criteria, and because we have 20 properties in the MLS, and I know we have 5 properties off market, and we have access to 60 agents, and I have connections to 15 wholesalers, I think I might be able to find the property for you today. And they go like, and then you go, okay, if we walk out of here and I'll take you to this one property I'm thinking that matches everything that you have here, will you be able to buy it today? And what do you think the reaction is? I mean, there's a purpose behind this. it's like the guy's gonna say, hell yes. But most of the time you're gonna get, well, today? Yeah, I mean, there might be a chance that I have that exact property that meets everything today in the next hour. And you buy it. Well, in reality, I gotta wait for my 401k, or I gotta wait for a settlement that I'm waiting on, or to be honest with you, I'm waiting for my credit to get better, or and that's when this whole exercise brings value to you, because you're able to uncover the things that they should have told you to begin with, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Then you could tackle the things that matter, right? Because if the person said, it's a situation with the credit, I'm so glad that you're so honest with me. No problem, we're gonna work together, no problem. Let me schedule something with my credit restoration guy, and we'll get together in 6 months, whenever you're ready. Hire fast, fire fast, or hire fast, or you move quick. You got to know within that exercise, and I promise you, I will have agents that come to my office and say, I don't know what to do with this guy. I say, okay, sitting down with me for 5 minutes, and I will go through this exercise, and the guy will be 9 times out of 10, that guy's not ready. And we're taking these people, spending our gas, spending our energy with a lot of times without really knowing these things. So I encourage you to do that exercise and say, I mean, you could be a little softer than me. You could say, if you had a magic wand, if I could do it magically, the house appears today, can you buy it in the next hour? That's not gonna be as good as if you do like a little white light and then you say it was a lie. No, I don't have the property, but I just wanted to, I like to do this exercise with the clients because it helps them understand themselves better. But it works wonders, okay? It works wonders. Let me go back to presenting the thing. Couldn't tell you how many times I've been able to take a client that's the agent's been fumbling around with this guy, and then all of a sudden, boom, credit restoration, the guy's ready. Another tax, challenge. The reason why they were not moving forward is because they thought they were gonna have problems with their taxes, and then we were able to tackle that with the CPA. So there's a lot of times is the client not being not having the education, and that's when you become a consultant. Okay. Now, if the client says, yes, I'm ready to buy, run with that guy. I mean, you put top priority on a guy that gives you a passing fact-finding meeting sheet. When you do a fact-finding meeting, and they're fearless, and they're willing to go through with it, and they say, Jorge, bring it on, then stop everything else you're doing, talking about time management, and just focus on this person. Okay. Number 4. The same thing I said, ask probing questions to identify any information that the client might be leaving out. Conduct another fact-finding meeting. If you feel like you didn't, you're finding out stuff now, because the client could say to you, I don't have the money right now, or I'm only be getting the money in a few, or I meant to ask you this. Now that you put it in perspective, if I had to close tomorrow, would I qualify for DSCR lending? Be able to have that conversation with them, realign them, right? Because if it's a VA loan, it's going to be very hard to buy a distressed property. So whatever the results you get from that fact-finding meeting, it's going to practically have to restart you the whole process. And then you go through the same process again, and you say, okay, now that it's a VA loan, you have this and this and this in place. And we're going to have to be able to get this and this type of property. Okay. But the goal is to have a bulletproof, 1,000% aligned buyer with a working agreement. I call it a working agreement. Because once you have a working agreement, this is as good as a cashier check. If you've gone through this exercise and this guy's is aligned with you and he signed it, 9 times out of 10, it's a sale. Okay. What are the results? They're both positive when you think about time management. One of them is you get a buyer, and the other one you get a prospect. But you're able to move a lot faster. You know, you're able to, so in one end, you're able to say, okay, I'm going to put all of my effort into this guy, so it's going to save you time, because now you know this is the person who's going to make you money. And the other client, either you put them in a process where they're going to be ready to buy, or you disqualify them as a buyer, but you're able to move a lot faster. My takeaway, this is the last slide of my own training and reflecting to it, is about the value, it's about valuing yourself. If you start with, you act as like an advisor and you say, I don't do business with you until we have a meeting, or we meet in person, or we have this fact-finding meeting. Trust me, people gravitate to people that value themselves. And that itself is going to bring you all the money that you've never had. Okay. That's pretty much it. Anybody has any questions? Leo, go ahead.
Going back to your exclusive. So a lot of times I get folks that want to partner with me for commercial deals. And one of the first things that I ask is, you know, are they on an exclusive? And that's super important when you're dealing with buyers, is to get them on a contract that will solidify your relationship. Because what it'll do is it'll separate the people that are kicking tires from the people that are actually willing to close a deal with you. So it's super important, especially on the commercial side, that you have an exclusive with them, to be able to, an exclusive buyer representation, to be able to work with them and do it from the get-go, right from the beginning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It applies to any type of transactions you have. You gotta value your time. You have to. It's all about communication. Communication is money. I couldn't tell you how many times the client is asking for something, buyer, seller, and the agent is thinking something else, because they're just going through too fast through the whole process. Take your time underwriting your client. Anybody else?
With that, Leo, do you do a non-refundable retainer usually, or no? Did I hear that?
Sorry, I was.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah, sorry, I was in mute. I have in the past. It depends on the client, but yes.
Like $500, just to make it a little serious.
Depends on the size of the deal.
Yeah, I guess so.
And Brandon, you're not getting my point, because you're worth more than $500. $500? Right. You kidding me? They throw $1,000 at me, and I was like, your time is going to be worth $10,000. So it's all about how you set that up. Once again, going through that fact-finding meeting, and that's going to be put more weight into anybody you work with, and more of a commitment than $500. If you sit down with them and you say, listen, in order for me to work with you, you need to meet me at my office, and we need to talk, and we need to go through this fact-finding meeting. I promise you, that's going to give it more weight than 500, 200. Because then they're not valuing you, they're just valuing. So it's just a money thing. So it's don't confuse one thing with the other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll say also, don't be afraid to ask the money question. Get pre-approvals, and also the proof of funds. And I know everyone can ask this question different ways. I've heard Jorge say, hey, do you have $5 or 5 million? You know, make them feel comfortable, but it will save you a ton of time if you know what you're working with before you go out there searching for properties. And, you know, if they're not serious, they won't get that pre-approval, and then you won't waste your time too. So that's part of my fact finding in the beginning, is getting them approved to move forward.
And the same applies for sellers, buyers. It's all about how do you conduct your business, right? If you don't conduct it in a professional basis, and if you don't set up the right communication and expectations to begin with, then they're gonna waste your time. Anybody else has any other questions? Jay?
I don't have any questions, but I can relate to this from a PM perspective. So I'll share with you guys. Early on in my time as a property manager, you know, I came out of the hospitality industry, so I'm the bend over backwards for the client kind of person. And what we were finding was we would talk to people, they would give us the verbal, yeah, I'm going to use you. And then they would say, can you just come look at my property and tell me what I need to do to get it rented out? And I would either go out myself or I would send an inspector out there. In some cases, I would even get a vendor to go out there, give an estimate, take their time, do a scope of work, negotiate with the vendor to go out there for free since it's a PM thing. And then the client would come back and go, yeah, no, I decided not to rent it out, and burnt the bridge. And also the fact finding for us is the onboarding paperwork. So, you know, we put them in our system and then fight like dogs to try to get their W-9s and try and get their direct deposit information and all the stuff that we need in order to actually effectively conduct the business. And so we reversed that. I don't know, 6 months into my tenure as a property manager, we said, okay, we are not physically going to your property until you sign a management agreement. And we are not sending you a management agreement until you've supported us with the documents that we need. And so now if we have a new landlord, we collect all of the information we need. I want to know how big your property is. I want to know what your pet policy is. I want to know everything up front before I even send you a management agreement to sign. And then once you sign the management agreement, then I'll say, okay, now we'll set a date to go out and do the inspection. And it has saved so much time for my team doing things like running comps and going out and doing inspections and coordinating with vendors that turned into a zero profit. Now we're not doing any of that stuff until we're talking turkey. So I can relate to that hardcore.
Love it. Love it. The funny thing is, based on my 20 years of experience, the minute that I started giving it up, so to speak, so easy, is when people wanted me the most. The minute that I started saying, the minute that I started valuing myself, no, I don't have time. No, I cannot do this. No, I cannot stop everything I'm doing to take care of you. No, I'm not gonna not pick up my kid on time to do this for you. I don't have the time. Look at my schedule. I mean, perception is reality. If they perceive you as you're weak in sales, you're willing to flex on every request, all of those things, you gotta stand strong to begin with. It all starts with aligning the client, asking the right questions. And I promise you, the minute you do that, then things are gonna change. All right, anybody else?
Yeah,
One more thing. Oh, go ahead, Nadia. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I just really like what Jorge is saying in this. And what I've always considered is that, this in the very beginning, they're checking you out to see how you're going to negotiate the actual deal. So if you're going to bend over backwards, that means that you're going to bend over backwards in the deal. So by showing them that you have value, showing them that you value yourself, you're going to win the bid. And there's, like he said, there's thousands of real estate agents out there picking on them and trying to get the business. But if you're taking the time to ask the right questions, they're going to pick you over anyone else. Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, this has been a really good class.
Awesome. Awesome, Nadia. Thank you for the feedback. Appreciate it.
My last thought that I was going to share was just that I don't think you necessarily have to be firm in your communication, but I don't think you have to be a jerk. And I think that you can use vocabulary that people relate to, and you can still be the nice person, because most of the time the people that bend over backwards are because you're Mr. Nice Guy or Mrs. Nice Guy. You can still be that person and stand your ground. And I think it's important. And I think you can leverage the company's values. We do have a value of transparency. We have a value of professionalism. We have a value of personalized service. And you can absolutely start off by talking about that and saying, hey, in the spirit of transparency, that's one of our values. I need to be transparent with you. Before I will take any action, I need blah, blah, blah. Hey, we value personalized service. I want to give you that. And for me to give you that, I need the information in order to be personalized. And so I think you can leverage the vocabulary within our cultural values to be able to help kind of navigate you through that conversation.
Absolutely, Jay. Transparency, I use it all the time. I say, I'm sorry, one of our values is to be transparent. I don't think this deal fits you. I really do not think this is the best option for you. And here's why. And anytime you do that, people appreciate that, because you're pushing away from a sale, then you're not biased to money only, that you're actually thinking of them. So absolutely, transparency is big when it comes to negotiating buyers and sellers. Anybody else? Oh, Jorge, it was interesting. It was great. Oh, thank you. Really appreciate it. Oh, wow. Really? Oh my God. One at a time.
I have one.
One at a
I have
time.
one thing. I have one thing for the agents in here.
Yes, go ahead.
Do not forget to schedule your alignment meeting with GA so that we can help all departments help your business better.
Thank you, Cody. Appreciate it. Guys, anything else you want to bring up?
I'd just like to request a better looking speaker if you could find one for the next class.
Bam, bam,
That was hurtful. That was
I
very
think,
good.
Pew,
I
pew,
think
pew.
Jay, you're the next teacher, so I think you're talking about yourself.
Oh,
Is
well then.
Is that the nice vocabulary that we have to use to close these deals?
Hey, problem solved. And and I forgot, Leo, how about them heat? Sorry, that's my last thing.
Whatever.
So I thought there was momentum with the type of looks. I mean, are we going downwards or no? I'm just playing. But Jay is a nice person. All right,
Thanks,
guys.
buddy.
Yeah, just don't get them on the court.
He sucks. But,
So
Jorge, seriously, it was a good meeting, man.
just want to let everyone know that we have plenty of trainings coming up in the next couple of months. So you'll see it on your schedule soon, and we'll be advertising what we'll be offering to all our agents. So we're looking forward to you being there and applying all this great knowledge to your business and building that. So thank you everyone for joining us. Jorge, did you have anything else before we close out?
how you start your business is how you end your business. So if you start your business as an enterprise, you will exit that business as an enterprise and be a billionaire. If you treat your business as a small business, that's all it would ever be. So start thinking about your value statement and really high-end tips to run your business, business plans, everything like that. You are a full walking business. Be as professional as you can. Thank you for the time. Whatever you guys need, anything from me, let me know. Appreciate it. Thank you. That's it.